What's going on, guys? Billy here, and this right here is the new DJI OM4. It's DJI's newest entry to their mobile gimbal lineup, and no, I didn't misspeak, it's actually titled OM4. DJI's handheld camera lineup has always been referred to as the Osmo line, but this time around with the Osmo Mobile, they seem to have shrunk the name down and combine it to get OM. Now, I've been told that this is in an effort to try and bring the attention and the recognition back to the brand itself, which is of course DJI, but it leaves me wondering what is at store for the Osmo lineup in the future. Will the Osmo Pocket turn into the OP? Will the Osmo Action turn into the OA? It's got me wondering exactly what direction DJI is heading in. Regardless of what the new naming scheme is, the OM4 builds on what made the Osmo Mobile 3 such a hit and makes the overall usability of the gimbal a whole lot easier. We'll get into exactly what I mean here in just a second, because first, I want to cover what's inside of the box. Upon opening, you'll find some directions for the new magnet mount on the lid, along with some other important device and packaging information. Lifting up the sleeve that sits on top of the packaging reveals the OM4 and the small tripod that comes included. The tripod piece itself acts like a foot for when you want to set the gimbal down and can give you some more leverage when shooting. It gives you another space to put your hand for dual-handed shooting. Now, underneath of the tripod piece is a USB-C cable for charging, and of course, sitting next to these accessories in the box is the OM4 itself with the magnet mount. If we refer back to the sleeve that we removed earlier, it includes more magnet mounts, a ridiculous amount of paperwork and guides, and a small bag to fit the gimbal and accessories inside of. I kind of wish that DJI included a hard case like they did with the Osmo Mobile 3, but regardless, the microfiber cloth bag should get the trick done. Now, I've got to admit that I have a small obsession with the mobile device gimbals that DJI's put out over the years. I first started with the original Osmo Mobile back when it first came out, and then I upgraded to the Osmo Mobile 2, and then the Osmo Mobile 3, and now I've got the OM4. Now, I think I know why they dropped Osmo Mobile. It's just a mouthful, but regardless, the reason that I like the Osmo Mobile or the OM line so much is because you can take the great camera you already have in your smartphone in your pocket and put that to better use. You could go out and buy something a little bit more expensive, like say the Osmo Pocket here, but again, this costs about double what the OM4 costs, coming in at $150. I'm not trying to say that one is better than the other here. I think the Osmo Pocket is a much different device than the OM4, but if you're somebody that's trying to ball on a budget and you want to use the smartphone you already have, the OM4 is definitely a no-brainer. For me personally, it's what got my channel started here on YouTube. I first started with the iPhone 7 Plus. I filmed all of my videos on the camera on that phone, and I thought to myself, why not just buy the Osmo Mobile, save a little bit of money, and put that camera to better use? In my opinion, it kind of supercharges your phone's camera. With that said, even though I started out producing a lot of the content that I create for my channel with my iPhone in the Osmo Mobile, it still fills a pretty big role in my workflow here today, as it helps me get B-roll footage of the drones that I'm talking about and making tutorials on here on my channel. It's just so much easier to bring this here out with me rather than my big bulky A7 III, and the results are great. I think that a lot of people would be surprised at the amount of iPhone footage I sneak into my videos. Now, when we compare the new OM4 to the older Osmo Mobile 3, the design is almost identically the same. The color is a little bit different here, transitioning to an off-white opposed to a dark gray, but as we look around the device, we see the same handle, the same foldable design, the same buttons, the same joystick, the same USB-C and USB-A port on the side, and of course the tripod mount on the bottom. Where these devices differs though is the mounting point, changing from a typical clamp style mount to a new and improved magnetic puck. One of my biggest issues with gimbals in general, from the smaller Osmo Mobile line to the much larger brother in the Ronin S here, is setup time. The balancing of the axes, the mounting of the phone or the camera, and in this case, the process of having to get the phone inside of the clamp and then balance it. The design always felt really clumsy to me and would sometimes result in just ditching the gimbal entirely to instead rely on my phone's electronic image stabilization to get the job done. This time around, DJI has included two magnet mounting options for your mobile device. There's a detachable clamp that fits around your phone and then attaches to the OM4 through a magnet. This is more or less the same design as the older mobile gimbals that came with a built-in clamp, but this is far superior as you can easily take the phone on and off of the gimbal. The other mounting solution though is far better in my opinion and ditches the clamp for a side with 3M adhesive. Keeping this small puck on the back of your mobile device allows you to take the phone on and off as you need, amounting in a lot of time and frustration saved upon setup and once you're done shooting. If you need help mounting, there is an alignment guide that comes in the box, And oh yeah, this mount doubles as a pop socket for those of you that are interested in that kind of thing. It can also be used as a stand for watching videos, which is pretty neat. The barrier to entry upon shooting is something that I am always looking to cut down, whether it's saving on setup time, whether it's saving on time when I'm packing up, and whether it's just making things all around more efficient. I'm always looking to make my workflow better. I'm looking to improve the way that I shoot. So for example, these YouTube videos are shot at a set in my basement that I never take down. It is here all of the time, so I can come down, start shooting, and nothing has to be set up. I can push one button and I'm recording. And the same thing goes for when I'm out and I'm shooting on location. When I'm anywhere out and about shooting, I want my setup and my packing up process to be as easy and seamless as possible. As I said, sometimes I would just hold my phone and record like this really awkwardly rather than use a gimbal because it was just kind of tough and annoying to set up. But with the new OM4, all you need to do is unlock it, put that into place, turn on the gimbal, and now we are rolling, right? We can go ahead, double press it, go here into horizontal mode, and we're good to go. This is so easy. And if I wanted to tear it down and pack up, I just turn it off. It kind of swivels back into the same position that it was in. I can take off the magnet, I can pull down the clamp, and now we are good to go. I think that this really does improve the usability of this device because again, it cuts down on the barrier to entry. You don't have to fumble with any clamps. And it's just so easy. Now, while that is by far the biggest change that's made here to the OM4, there are some general quality of life improvements made to both the software and the hardware that keep this feeling fresh and overall improve the user experience. Some of the more notable changes are the improved motors that can handle a larger payload, meaning a larger mobile device, and has seemed to improve the overall usability of the device. Like it seems when I'm shooting, it's more responsive and more fluid than previous mobile gimbals that I've used. Upgrading these motors was definitely a must with the heavier and larger that phones are becoming. The next improvement here is to Active Track with Active Track 3.0, and whenever a new product comes out from DJI, you know that we are in store for a new update to this tracking system. And while I think that it's better suited for their drone lineup, it still works really well and it works really uniquely here in the OM4. I didn't get much opportunities to shoot something cool with Active Track here in this quarantine life, but it seems like something that could really come in handy when vlogging. As you see me here on my electric skateboard, it keeps me right in the center of the frame regardless of the orientation of the device. It's been really cool over the years to see exactly how Active Track has improved in all of DJI's devices. I remember using Active Track back on the Phantom 4 when it was still in its very early stages of being developed, and it still worked fine, but to see how far it's come is really impressive. And in the Osmo Mobile, it's a lot of fun to use, and it's actually really helpful. I find that it's probably going to be a very valuable tool for people that don't want to worry about framing the shot up. You can tap on your dog, you can tap on your kid, and you can just worry about enjoying the moment, but then you can also have the phone and the gimbal kind of frame up your shot for you. Again, you don't have to worry about much. It's also very easy to get into the Active Track shooting mode, so I've got the camera facing towards me right now, and I can move the gimbal from left to right, and the phone kind of moves with it, but just with a push of the trigger here, it'll lock onto my face, and no matter how I spin and move the gimbal, it's always going to stay locked onto my face, so I can move it around as much as I want to, and it stays locked onto my face. So again, it's going to be a very valuable tool for somebody that doesn't really want to try and frame up their shot and just wants to live in the moment. You see, as I'm moving, it follows me around, so it's pretty cool. Now, as we dig through some of the new shooting modes that DJI has added, a new one in particular stands out called Dynazoom, which utilizes your camera's ability to zoom in digitally, giving you this really wild effect where your subject stays in the same size in the middle of the frame, but the background changes drastically due to the change in focal length. You can do a move out and a move in, but I found that the move out Dynazoom works far better than the move in. Now, up until this point, I have praised the OM4 with all of the good things that it has to offer, but there is one thing that is driving me crazy about the Osmo Mobile line in general that dates all the way back to the original Osmo Mobile, and it's the range of motion. You don't have full range of motion with this device. There's actually a physical limitation built in so that it doesn't have the ability to spin a full 360 degrees on all of its axes. So just to give you a quick example, right? As I spin the device here, it obviously moves along with the gimbal, but if we hold this trigger back here, you can then keep it locked in one direction. And this is very helpful. But if we keep it locked and try to spin it a full 360 degrees, it hits that physical limitation and begins to spin, right? Now, if we kind of recenter it here, hold the button, and go the other way, again, it hits that physical limitation and begins to spin along with the device. So is this a deal breaker? No, but it's something that I definitely wish that DJI would have ironed out by now. You know, where this is really noticeable was through the new spin shot mode where you can spin the camera as you shoot, but it eventually comes to an abrupt stop. This shooting mode would have been really great if there was no limit and you could just keep spinning the camera, but you can't. Now, you guys may have noticed that up until this point, I haven't shown any footage shot with the OM4, and the reason behind that is because your mileage will vary depending upon which phone you have to use with this device. So for me, I own the iPhone 11 Pro Max as well as the Pixel 4 XL, both of which take great photos, but the iPhone 11 Pro Max blows the Pixel 4 XL out of the water in terms of video. It's also more well equipped with the 3 different cameras on the back. So with the zoom slider on the OM4, I can quickly switch between the ultra wide, the wide, and the telephoto cameras. In the coming days, I'll be uploading a video about my experience using the OM4 and the iPhone 11 Pro Max. So if you're interested in that, be sure to stay tuned and subscribe. And so that pretty much wraps up our first review of the new DJI OM4. The reason I called this a first review is because there's still a lot to unpack about this device. I usually like to do it over the course of a couple videos, so make sure you stay tuned here to the channel because I'll be covering this device in depth over the next couple of weeks. One thing that I did forget to mention here is that with this little sticker, the phone puck, as I said, right, it has this adhesive on the back here, but if you plan on sticking this directly to your phone with the glass back, you're gonna have to use one of these stickers. So it goes sticker on the back of the device and then the mobile device clamp, the mobile device puck. So just make sure that when you're using the device, you mount it properly because the last thing you want to happen is your phone dropping off of the Osmo Mobile, the OM4. I'd love to hear what you guys have to think about this device down in the comment section below. So far, again, it's been nothing but a ton of fun. I almost feel like DJI has perfected the mobile gimbal. The clamping method, or I guess the mounting method here, is just an added bonus because it makes using it so much easier. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, I'll talk to you later. Peace.